Soldiers Once and Young. That's the name of a book recently written by Major General Hal Moore about a battle in the Idrang Valley with the 1st Cav Division. There's over 300 names on that wall from that particular battle. I think the title of the book is very fitting. We were soldiers once and young. We believed we were going over there to do the right thing. We believed in our country. When we got over there and we saw the enemy we were facing, we saw the kinds of atrocities that were being committed on the battlefield, many of which often are not talked about. We believed even stronger. And when our country stopped believing, we still believed. And we believed in each other. More than anything else that happened in Vietnam, we believed in each other. The soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen that fought over there cared about each other like nothing that I have ever experienced or will ever experience again in my lifetime. They loved one another. They truly loved one another. You didn't have to be in that same unit to be cared about. There was only one criteria to be loved by fellow soldiers or sailors or airmen or Marines over there. The criteria was that you were American, you were an American fighting man in combat, and by God, we were going to get you out. And if you got shot, and it took a helicopter to come down and take 15 hits coming down to get you, it came down to get you. There were no cowards there. And every one of us that came back alive were wounded. Everyone was wounded. Some were wounded physically. All of us were wounded mentally. And of course, many of us both. It was a god-awful war in a very painful and desolate place. And many Americans today ask two questions. The first was, why did we go? I don't pretend to have the answer to that question. There are as many opinions as there are people in this country to answer that question. But there's a second question, and I think a much more important question. And is, what did we get out of this? What did 58,000 names on that wall, 58,000 men, not names, but men, women, what did we learn from that and the hundreds of thousands of people that were wounded? Well, I want to share with you what I think we learned. We learned that we would never again go to war with one hand tied behind our back. We learned that we had a mission from those that died. We learned that these dead men on this wall gave us a sacred duty, and that was to make sure, absolutely sure, that this country did not commit to battle again in a half-baked manner. And so when places like Grenada came up, and Haiti came up, and Panama came up, it was veterans in and out of the military that said, wait 1 minute. Let us not go half-baked. We go in, we do the job, we get it over with, and we get our men home. And if it isn't that way, it's no way. It was Vietnam veterans in and out of the military that when it came to the Persian Gulf, General Powell, many others said, wait 1 minute. We aren't going to repeat Vietnam. We're going to do this right. And there was hundreds of other places that most of you don't even know about that we didn't go and fight and die because of the Vietnam experience, because of the Vietnam veterans, because of what we learned by these deaths. I can tell you that I was personally involved in discussions about whether we should be in El Salvador or not, whether we should be fighting there. Discussions in about many other countries that we might have otherwise committed to send Americans there and shed even more blood. Those things didn't happen. And they didn't happen because of the mission that was handed to us by the dead men and women represented on the wall behind us. That very sacred mission, not on our watch, not so long as any Vietnam veteran has air to breathe, a voice to speak, the ability to see and write, will we allow this country to commit to something half-baked? And I thank God and I thank those men that died. And we will not let that happen. Not ever again, not on our watch. Thank you.